John with the Wine Scrolls here. Hey, welcome back. Please subscribe below. Keeps my channel going a little bit. This is a follow-up video, sort of long overdue, for my Italy trip with my family in June. Again, it was really focused on experiences and family and doing things with the family. But I did get a chance to hit 5 IGT wineries. And IGT and the classifications of Italian wines I'll go through in a few minutes. In the narrative also after the classifications, I'll go through some pictures and some videos of the visit in Italy, and it was a lot of fun. I didn't hit any DOC or DOCG classified wineries, but I did it, as I mentioned, the IGT wineries, talking to the winemakers. These are smaller wineries, absolutely, and but don't be fooled. Super Tuscans, in a lot of ways, are classified as IGT because they bring in different grapes and French varietals and so forth. And this is what the winemakers liked. The IGT wines were excellent in some ways because they blended Sangiovese and Syrah and a bunch of other things together without the restrictions of the government, right? They can, there's a certain percentage you have to do, but other than that, they liked, talking to the winemakers, they liked that flexibility. And being, some of these wineries are 400 or 500 years old in the family forever, they wanted to go ahead and still have that flexibility of the IGT classification, which we'll go through in a second. This is one place I joined. It's called Buscialetti. Buscialetti is in Tuscany. It's actually right near the house that we stayed at for about 7 days. And very friendly staff. They're going to ship 6 bottles to me every 6 months through Chicago distribution to straight here. And it's sort of a nice touch. You can get these some other places, but it's really sort of neat to get them straight from Italy. Here's the pyramid of Italian wines. And in the 60s, this pyramid was sort of defined, and it mirrors a little bit of the French classifications. And the French classifications, a lot of things mirror the French classifications in some cases, but this is the Italian pyramid of classifications, and let's just keep it very, very simple. There's lots of nuances and exceptions within this pyramid, but to keep it straightforward for people that just want to just go ahead and follow it, it's a great pyramid to know, especially when you buy Italian wine. You have the Vino di Tavola, which is, you're not going to find this typically in, Total Wine and some of the other wine shops in the United States. But this is typical table wine. You go to an Italian restaurant, you have a glass of Chianti, they pour it for you, it's a couple bucks. And this is the table wine that, there's, I think over quote unquote 1 million wineries in Italy, right? And a lot of them they produce just table wine, and that table wine goes to probably restaurants that are local, and that's served. And it's just, is it high quality? Nah, probably not, but it gets by, and it's probably decent, right? So that's Vino di Tavola. The next is IGT. IGT is Indicazione Geografica Tipica, which is a little bit more government restriction. Vino di Tavola, let me mention that the only really government restriction is just has to be made or produced in Italy, right? IGT has a little bit more restriction in the way that it has to be a certain percentage from the region of the grapes. But the big difference is that they can grab Sangiovese, Syrah, Cabernet Sauvignon, whatever they want. Super Tuscans are a great example of IGT wine. IGT classified wine. So don't be fooled. Some of the IGT wine is not the best quality, but some of it is excellent quality. So the next level up, or the next part of the pyramid, is the DOC. The DOC is Denominazione di Origine Controllata, and around 300 plus regions within Italy with this classification. As I mentioned to you before, most of the wineries I went to their portfolio was basically a lot of IGT wines, but then they did have Buscialetti did have a DOC wine that I purchased, and more government restriction, more testing, more analysis, and certain amount of grapes and yields and so forth. DOCG is really DOC on steroids. It's actually defined in the DOC as even a smaller region, more restrictive, more yields, control, more analysis, more testing. And so, in general, when you hear about DOCG, you think, okay, that must be the top of the pyramid, which it is. But if you had to ask a question, answer a question on a test, is DOCG better quality than IGT? Yes or no? Typically, the answer is probably yes. But some IGT, like I said, some blends, some Super Tuscans can be superior to some DOCGs. But wine, that's what's the magic about wine. It's what your palate likes. Who cares about all the other classifications? What your palate likes, right? When you taste that, what is you might taste the $11 bottle and go, this is the best stuff I've ever had. Who knows? Everybody has a different palate. So the great thing about DOCG also is that when I went to a lot of the stores and then even the grocery stores, they had lines and lines and lines of DOCG wines from like $8 US to hundreds of dollars US. So I picked up a lot of the DOCG wines and brought that back to the villa and had those, and they're excellent. So, but this is to give you a better perspective when you go out to a store and just buy things and when you see the labels. Okay, the top two are very government restricted. The bottom two are less. So that's about it on the classifications to keep it simple. There's lots of other exceptions like I mentioned, but don't worry about those right now. Thanks. All right. So here we are in the Cinque Terre. The Cinque Terre is actually a DOC region within Italy. This is one of the wineries we went to, quote unquote Rossi, which I'll send all the links below. Heidi, the owner. And you can see the terrain is brutal, right? And this is most all Cinque Terre was like this. 20-degree, 45-degree angles, even worse. They needed the, most of the employees needed the monorail system to go ahead and tend to the grapes and then tend to the vines. So this is sort of an idea of the monorail system there. It's a cool picture. It's hard to believe. And this is a typical terrain. The great thing about it is they get the Mediterranean Sea, cool air, the fog, and everything else to make some really, really nice whites. But as you can see, it's very hard to plant tons and tons of vines there. There's another picture of the monorail system. So jaw-dropping in a lot of ways. Beautiful views, but it's amazing that they're growing grapes on this stuff, but that's just the way it's been for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. And here's Heidi. Had a great time with him. He served around 6 different wines, some whites, some sweet wines, and he takes a lot of pride in his agricultural sustainability and using more and more organic techniques. He's trying to reduce the sulfites as much as possible and make everything really about the earth, really, at this point. And so lots of fun, great guy. Here's one of the sweet wines here that we had. And let's go over to Maria. Maria was another, at the top of Manarola, Maria had her cantina. And she's the owner of a cantina, Marinella. Check out the link below. Great stuff. Set up a time, go, and she'll take you for a tour. She has, her tasting room is a lot of fun. And she'll give you lots of great food, lots of great wine, but also give some really good education. So a lot of fun with Maria that day. Again, I encourage you to go ahead and check that website out and book something with her. I had a lot of fun. All right, there's another picture with Maria there. And Maria, when we met her at the top of Manarola, she took us through her terrain and her terroir. And yeah, as you can see, brutal cliffs, 45-degree angles, etc. But what's interesting is it's a cooperative, really. She had certain vines that were hers, and then right below she had certain vines that were other vineyards. So it was really sort of neat how the cooperative in Cinque Terre really works as far as the vineyards. When we got to back to Maria's tasting room, this is what we had all the time: prosciutto, salami, cheese, breads. Prosciutto, salami, cheese, bread. You're going to gain some weight in Italy if you like this stuff. A lot of fun, a lot of great food, but with whites, we had some prosecco and some white wine. It was really, really good. This is her tasting room at the top of Manarola. And when you take the tour, this is where you meet her, and she eventually takes you up to the vineyard to show you everything. The reason why I got this video is this building is 1,500 years old, so that was really amazing when she shared that with us. So check it out. Maria, really nice lady. All right, Buscialetti. This is where I joined when we went to Tuscany. And in Tuscany, in Buscialetti, sort of a little bit larger winery. They beautiful facility there, as you can see. This is Polventa. This is one of the ones we picked up when I brought that back with me. Um, there's another picture of the vineyard there. And of course, when they found out I was a sommelier, they set me up with a bunch of other wines, which was great. And of course, they did have some DOC wines. This is right above the Bucciolati Vineyard, so this is where we stayed. And that villa is around 500 years old. We stayed there, I think, around 7 nights. They have their own chapel too. They have a pool. It was a lot of fun. And then below, of course, you can see it's beautifully, beautiful scenery. Gabriele Mazeski, that was one of the wineries we went to in Tuscany also, focusing on IGT methods of making wine, but they have IGP classification, which sometime I'll get into later. Um, as you can see, that's IGP below, but very similar to IGT. All right. He found out I was a sommelier. He sat down with me a good 15 minutes after. We went through a bunch of stuff and went through DOC, IGT, pros, cons, etc., etc. And then we went into sort of his methods of making wine, which is clay vessels. They had the cement vessels. They had stainless steel, and then they obviously throw in neutral oak or 1 year oak or a new oak, depending on what it was. And this is after the tour of the winery. We sat down and had their portfolio wines with another family during the tasting. Of course, we had prosciutto and cheese and salami and bread, and it got fatter and fatter, but it was loads of fun, of course. Here's some pictures of some table wines, some DOC wines that we had with dinner throughout the trip. And of course, you go to Italy for this. On a trail right above our room in Cinque Terre, there's a picture. It's just amazing. Amazing views, amazing town. And of course, a lot of the trip ended with this. Cheers at dinner. And I wish everybody the best. Let there be peace on this planet. And please take care.